So what we have here is Cameron's amazing, beautiful home setup here. And you can see I'm sitting on a fake Earns chair. It's really, really nice and comfortable. And this system here is gorgeous. It's using a couple of pairs of Focal Sopra 3. So it's just, just a little under their very top of the line products, which I believe is the Utopias. And then you can see over there the lovely stack that he has with the Hollow Maze, with the DCS. I don't actually know which one he has engaged at the moment, but it's a lot that's going on here, and I think he's streaming all of it using Room. And as well as you can see in this room, there's quite a lot of room treatment as well, and that is very critical in order to have a great sounding room setup, which is what I'm going to get into next. But the back of these, at the back here, you have a bunch of these soundproofing material, and he has it in his room that he can move it around in order to get the best placement, the best treatment possible. So as we look at this system, let's talk about how it actually sounds. The first thing I wanted to sort of note is that there are two subwoofers in this room that you can see. These are big SVS subs, and subwoofers, if you don't have one already, they are extremely important. Do not sacrifice or do not compromise without having subwoofers. The sound is really interesting. This chair, I really have to have it in just the right position in order to have the best experience, obviously. They are towed in quite nicely. So instead of having them kind of facing forward, they are towed in, I would say, about 15 degrees or so, which is nice, and they aren't too far apart, so they're just the perfect size for this room. They're not too far away from me, and when having them towed in like this, I do get a very nice sort of directionality right at me. And in that sense, I would say that the soundstage isn't massive. It's not like it's throwing out the side of the walls here. Rather, it's actually quite focused and quite in this listening window here, which is really, really nice. And while that means that I don't have an amazing, hugely wide soundstage experience, I do get an exceptional imaging experience, especially with stage depth. And these speakers that he has here, as you can see, they're pulled up quite far from the walls. I'd say they're, 2 to 3 meters actually away from the wall, which is quite a good distance. Most people have their speakers pressed up against the wall, and that really does ruin, I think, a lot of the soundstage effect. Whereas Cameron, what he has done here, he really has taken advantage of the extra space that he has here to stretch them out. And this gives us an unbelievable amount of imaging depth to it. So while the speaker is over here, you can look 2 or 3 times behind the speaker, right up against the wall, right where he has all the acoustic treatment, right behind the DACs and amps that he has, and you can feel the music, the hats, the cymbals just crashing over here, or the notes, the electric guitars just pulling over here. It's almost ethereal coming from behind these speakers. So it's a really, really nice experience and that impression. I think if you're someone who wants, the absolute precision in your imaging, the way this setup isn't quite like that, because I find that it goes for more of that overall unity and coherency versus that absolute pinpoint precision. And I personally actually enjoy that style of presentation, because I find when it's too precise, it's too accurate, I actually think it actually takes away from some of the music, where it feels almost a little artificial. It feels almost as if someone is just trying to, create that sense of precision while sacrificing the overall unity and feel of the music, at least personally. Now, in terms of how, I guess, it sounds and the tonality, right? I think the first thing that I noticed, the room reverb time is pretty low, so you get an extremely tightly coupled bass response. You get a really, really clean bass notes, a huge amount of punch. You do get a really nice sub-bass presence, but it's not hugely decaying. It doesn't linger and rumble and oversaturate the room. It doesn't feel soupy, right? It feels very tight, very clean, which is fantastic if you're listening to anything electronic, well-mixed orchestral works, somewhere in between there, it's fantastic. The mid-range tunings, really quite nice as well. The treble presentations, really smooth actually for me, really, really smooth. Just enough brightness, just enough of that forwardness to get vividity, but not enough that you're feeling like it's clashy, or even some of the Focal Utopias that I've heard, even very high end, I just found it just a little bit too bright, just a little bit too splashy for me, right? And of course, Cameron does have, room treatment and EQ going on here to try and get it sounding nice. So there is definitely a lot more than you typically find at a show, but this is how your room should be set up if you're getting it at home and doing the work for it, right? I'd say the other thing though, for me at least personally, my music does have quite a bit of vocals in it, and they are a little forward. I do find that I do have to turn down the volume a little when I listen to it on Cameron's system. If I have it just uncomfortably loud, for example, just a little uncomfortably loud, I do find that the vocals do get a little scrunched up, a little compressed, and for me the tonality is just a little bit off. But if I pull it back a little where it is comfortable to listen to, I do think that it really settles in very nicely. So in that sense, I guess you can call it, unforgiving, right? I don't think you'll have this issue if you listen to some music that's very well mixed, well produced. Like I said, for me, I like those vocals that are very sort of in your face. And in this case, it is a little too in your face. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a show of Cameron GoldenSound's speaker system here in the UK. Fantastic system. I think that if you're going to really want to develop your own home theater, this is the type of system you might want to aspire towards. Maybe it's not the perfect system given your own room and your own place, but definitely a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas, and a lot of principles can be borrowed from here. All right, and that'll be it. Thanks for watching.